Coming up this morning, a man is found shot to death in Perry County. A suspect is still at large. The water levels at Lake Cumberland have peaked and are now receding. And a bill in Frankfort aims to level the playing field between winemakers and bourbon distillers.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Thursday, February the 28th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Before I toss it over to Brandon, I got to give a shout out to my favorite woman in the entire world. Mom, happy birthday. Brandon, here in Hazard, if my mom was in town, it'd be raining on her birthday because green is back in the forecast, but it doesn't last for long.
Exactly. And here's the thing. It won't be around for this afternoon, so if your mom was here right now, she'd be in good shape. There you go. It's still getting colder here this morning, so maybe a little bit of warmth to see around this morning as well. Let's go over to the cameras. We start at UVA Wise, and you can see cloud cover, but not much else going on. It's pretty dry to start the day so far anyway, outside the WYMT studios in Hazard. More of the same here as we take a look, and again, not a whole lot expected early this morning. Mesonet temperatures still in the 40s and 50s in most locations, but we're seeing those 30s starting to show up north along the I-64 Mountain Parkway corridors. Louisa hanging on to 40 there. I think they'll probably be dropping here before too long. 48 here in Hazard, 45 Nashville, 57 in Atlanta, and 21 up towards St. Louis. So that colder air is moving this way. Not today, though. Day planner, we're going to see temperatures drop a little bit more. Usually 7 o'clock, the coldest part of the day. Today it's 9. And we start to head back up, but we also bring those rain chances into play as we head into the afternoon and early evening hours. The rest of that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, new this morning, police in Perry County are now investigating a deadly shooting as a murder case. The call came in just before 4 Wednesday afternoon. An off-duty Perry County Sheriff's deputy found 42-year-old Danny Mullins of Chavies lying on Four Seam Road just south of Hazard, shot to death. We are told the victim had been shot multiple times and was dead at the scene.
We can say it was multiple. But we will be sending him in the morning to the Kentucky State Medical Examiner's office, and the Perry County Sheriff's Office, along with the coroner's office, will be sitting in during the autopsy.
Now, police continue to follow up on several leads, but there have been no arrests made in the case yet. We will pass along any new details we get here on the air and on our website at WYMT.com. Meanwhile, hundreds paid their respects yesterday as police escorted the body of a Tennessee officer killed in the line of duty. The escort traveled on I-75 through the Commonwealth. Police and firefighters stood on bridges and along the interstate to pay their respects. Authorities say Chattanooga police officer Nicholas Gallinger was hit and killed by a driver Saturday night. The driver, Janet Hines, is accused of driving away from the scene. She turned herself into police. Police are escorting Gallinger's remains to his hometown of Cincinnati. In Rockcastle County, a jury convicted a man of sexual abuse. From 2015 to 2017, Robert Napier sexually abused a 12-year-old and 16-year-old. Napier denied the claims, but his testimony was inconsistent with the statements he gave to Kentucky State Police. After hearing several witnesses speak in Napier's defense, the jury decided the children were telling the truth. Almost every year, it's a big problem that creates quite a mess. Heavy rains, like the ones we recently had, flood Fishtrap Lake in Pike County. Officials can open the dam there and let the water flow out, but the trash that gets caught up, now that's a different story. But some recent funding could help out. WYMT's Connor James went out to the lake to learn more.
As floodwaters recede,
it's sad. I mean, it really is.
In their wake,
yeah, it's actually really sad.
This mess of junk scattered all throughout the park. People like Rick Klauser come out to enjoy the lake.
Yeah, when it's nice out, yeah.
But fishing's not that easy.
I say stay out of there, you know. You're going to get hung up anyways.
When you have anything and everything floating around.
Shoes and basketballs and just random stuff that people would use every day.
Wiffle balls, footballs, tennis balls, dog toys, human toys, and a whole lot of plastic.
We've seen thousands and thousands of bottles.
It's an issue for people wanting to enjoy the lake.
It's every year, it's a cleanup.
But also people working there.
It's a maintenance issue for us every year.
But hopefully this year that will all change thanks to some extra funding.
So this year we hope to be able to utilize almost $450,000 to help clean up this lake. That's 4 times what we normally spend.
About $126,000 of that made official as of Wednesday, thanks to a joint effort with the county.
And they'll be coming up and augmenting what we do, actually just doing the same thing that we do and getting the drift and debris off the lake.
So maybe people who come out to enjoy it,
Oh yeah, I hope so.
won't have to deal with so much trash.
Again, that was Connor James reporting. Now, the additional funding will also help give the park better resources to hopefully find a long-term solution. Every year, officials hope to have 395 square mile lake cleaned up by Memorial Day weekend. Well, we have learned that after the historic flooding, the water levels at Lake Cumberland are starting to go down. The Army Corps of Engineers say that could take months, and they plan to let out large amounts of water to lower levels. They also said that since February 7th, the Wolf Creek Basin has received nearly 12 inches of rainfall that translates into more than 550 billion gallons of water. Crews say the safety of those living near the lake is important and that they'll let those people know when releases of water are planned. Well, the American Red Cross needs your help. Recent flooding has triggered the need for volunteers. AEP donated a $150,000 emergency response vehicle to help Red Cross responders reach rural areas. Floodwaters sent Charlene Qualls and her husband Michael to Johnson County. Both have been volunteering for 4 years. She says the work is very rewarding.
And that gives you a feeling that you're helping them. And that's the reason why that I volunteer for the Red Cross.
Red Cross volunteers replace smoke detectors, make damage reports, and bring cleaning supplies to disaster victims. If you would like to volunteer for the American Red Cross, you can call Volunteer Services at 606-331-6672. A road break in Letcher County, if it gives way, could strand an entire community with no way to drive out. Now they are pleading with road crews to come and fix it. I went to Letcher County yesterday to learn more. Worry surrounds this break on a road in Letcher County.
We're just afraid that the kids is going to actually be the ones to reap the cushion from it because it's going to fall. And when it does, I just hope and pray that a school bus is not on it.
The cracks like this one take up a portion of Highway 803 in the Millstone community, a sign that the road is unstable.
There's about 100+ people stranded up this road up through here as soon as this falls.
It developed roughly 2 weeks ago. Then people who drive over and around it every day say it's getting worse.
I just know it was going to go this past Sunday because so many people, this parking lot here is covered with vehicles.
The crack is in a curve, and people say it can sneak up on drivers.
I forget because there's really nothing there to remind you. They come out and put a little strip about this ball of orange paint.
The state says the crack will have to be drilled to stabilize the falling earth, and it is not a quick fix.
Heaven forbid somebody needs a fire truck, somebody's house catches on fire.
But the community just wants it to be fixed sooner rather than later.
To fix it, please fix it before somebody does get hurt.
Joining the long list of areas in eastern Kentucky whose roads have taken a beating this winter. Now, state officials have looked at the break and have it on the contractor's list to repair. A retired state worker actually lives along Kentucky 803 and will keep an eye on it in the meantime. An emergency has been declared in California's wine country. People are being asked to leave Sonoma County, California, after rising floodwaters have washed out roads, leaving thousands cut off. Torrential rains have caused the Russian River that rushes through California's wine country to break its banks, turning roads into rivers, swamping cars and buildings, and isolating at least one community.
It happened out of nowhere.
And we had tried to get out to see if we could canoe, and the whole canoe flipped, so.
What was going through my head was, I want to live. I want to survive. I want me and my wife to survive this.
The river is expected to crest at over 46 feet, more than 10 feet higher than flood stage. Flooding is not the only threat people are facing. Landslides, mudslides, and falling trees are wreaking havoc across the county. A former manager for Armstrong Coal is indicted after investigators say he skirted safety regulations. A release from the U.S. Attorney's Office says Glendale Buddy Hardison worked with others to lie to regulators about how much breathable dust was in two mines in Ohio and Muhlenberg counties. Prosecutors walked us through how they say the deception took place.
This device was taken from the miner at the mine face, the dustiest part of the mine, the most dangerous part of the mine. This device was taken from that miner and hung in clean air. Guess who wasn't in clean air? This device spent time in clean air. The miners were not in clean air. They were back at the most dangerous point at the mine without the means of measuring what they were being exposed to.
8 other people are also under indictment. Armstrong Coal is now bankrupt. The mine in Ohio County, where investigators say this happened, is still running, but is under a new ownership. Well, students from Johnson County made a push to ban e-cigarettes and other vaping products for people under 21. They testified about Senate Bill 218, which would set up an anonymous hotline for students to report other students using e-cigs or other vaping products in schools. The group of students helped draft that bill. A similar bill failed to pass a committee Monday. Now, also in Frankfort, bourbon distillers say they feel left out of a bill going through the General Assembly. The bill would allow you to have up to 24 cases of wine mailed to you each year. That does not include bourbon. The Kentucky Distillers Association says wineries from other states are trying to change Kentucky's law. Distillers say they just want to be treated the same as winemakers. Right now, the bill is in a House committee.
Satellite radar pretty quiet as we head through the morning hours, but it's going to start to get picked up as we get later into the day. Seeing a little bit of green trying to show up overnight, but mainly just the clouds. But look back out toward the west, already seeing that trying to approach the region out there. It's a little bit more on the wintry side, but temperatures are going to be warm enough here to keep that from being the case here in the mountains. Back on the sensors this morning, they're all back in action. 51 in Harlan, 48 here in Hazard right now, 41 in Prestonsburg, 36 now in Moorhead, 35 in Ashland. Temperatures dropping fast along that cold front boundary. 47 your high today as we bounce back a little bit after our morning low around 9 o'clock, about 40 degrees. And then we'll see average highs for this time of the year being about 52 degrees with the record of 70 set back in 2011. Will?
All righty, Brendan, thank you. Well, thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coverage of President Trump's summit with Kim Jong-un coincides with a United States honor flight.